Okay, so let's start. And hello to everyone and welcome. Many thanks for joining the Dare to Do More webinar. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. Today's topic will be focused on supply chain. We have three of our key functional representatives, Belen, Richard, and Marco, who will be introducing themselves in a bit. A bit of housekeeping. This webinar will last an hour. We are recording the session, which you will have access. You will be able to find it at the webinar tab at the Dare to Do More landing page. Also, feel free to ask any question and place them at the Q&A box, and we will be answering them at the end of the session. So my name is Maria Posentia. I'm at the Talent Acquisition and Talent Management team in Europe, and we'll be passing the stage to Belen, Richard, and Marco to introduce themselves.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Belen Fabregas. I am leading the transformation initiative across Europe regarding supply chain planning, and happy to be with you and explain how amazing it is to be part of a supply chain in PepsiCo.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Buckley. I lead the Manufacturing Centre of Excellence team in the UK element of our Europe supply chain in PepsiCo. And like Belen, really glad to be here with you this afternoon to talk to you about something that's obviously a deep passion of mine.
Hi guys, hi everybody. My name is Marco Angeloro, 25 Italian, currently based in Barcelona, being part of the technical support excellent team, taking care of the warehouse capabilities across the Europe sector. Talking about briefly about my background, I've been studying food technology and engineering, and then I've started this amazing program, and I'm happy to share with you all the details to make you feel comfortable during the recruitment process.
Thank you everyone, and yeah, really exciting. So okay, so we are starting with Paul introducing some of the topics that will be covered in the webinar. So I guess you can see the question, and the first one would be, what is the role of supply chain? So what do you think? Deliver cost saving, drive cash flow improvements, drive sustainability, identify and deliver innovation, ensure goods and services are available as needed, or all above? Okay.
Amazing. Really amazing. I think that we have a nice audience that understands pretty well how important is supply chain and what is the role that we play. As the right answer is all the above. And supply chain in PepsiCo starts with our relationships with the suppliers that allowing us to get the raw materials, the packaging, the ingredients, the cans, the bottles, managing the network of those, using those products to produce in our manufacturing sites, internal ones, external ones, with different type of processes, and optimizing this cost till then, and also being able to deliver the product to our customers, thanks to the different distribution networks, our own distribution network with our own warehouses, our own fleet, and also using third-party logistics providers. And all those processes are and should be optimized in terms of cost, and now more than ever in terms of sustainability. We want to really deliver a product with the right cost and minimizing and optimizing the effect that we have in the environment around us. And to give you a nice example, because was launched yesterday, in Spain, our Pepsi Max is produced with a PET plastic 1% recyclable, and is the first PET bottle in the colas world, and that has been able to deliver this in a very, very short time period. Congratulations to see that we have really some people that understand well what does it mean supply chain. Next one.
Okay, yay. Okay, so how many farmers do we partner with within Europe? So PepsiCo works closely with farmers to optimize crop waste in our supply chain. How many farmers do we partner within Europe? 200, 2,500, 4,000? What do you think? Not an easy one. Okay, we have like sort of 50-50 correct answer. So we are partnering with 4,000. Who would like to?
Yeah, I think,
Richard?
yeah, the numbers are pretty astonishing. You know, whenever we talk about kind of the size and scale of the operation, you think about, you know, the number of products that we make as an organization. So, you know, potatoes going into crisps, corn going into our tortilla chip snacks. Then we've got oats into our kind of Quaker business. We've got Alvalle in the south of Spain. We make so many different things, and we need so many different crops across the whole of Europe that the number of farmers we work with is pretty staggering, actually, 4,000. And key in there, and Belen touched upon it a little bit a moment or two ago, is, you know, minimizing waste is a great thing for everybody, right? It's a great thing for the farmer to do. It's a great thing for PepsiCo as an organization to do. It's a great thing for the consumers because, you know, less waste is less cost for everybody, and fundamentally it's a great thing for the planet because the planet doesn't thank us for making waste. So, you know, there's loads of farmers, there's loads of different products, and an absolute raft of initiatives to keep waste down across the whole portfolio throughout Europe.
Thank you, Richard. Really interesting. Okay, so we move to the last one. And how many employees do you think that work in our European supply chain team? Starting from 3,000, moving to 12,000 or 27,000. What do you think? Okay, we have, yeah, but it's good.
Okay, it's not bad, let me say, it's not bad, no. We have 20,000 employees, but if we take into account all the associates, I mean suppliers and operations that we are doing with external co-manufacturers, co-packers, we can be doubling this figure. And we are the largest team in the organization because, as I said before, we start with the suppliers. We manage raw material warehouses across total Europe, including Russia, that, as you know, is the largest country in the world, and we have there close to 100 warehouses. We have more than 50 own factories across Europe in the different categories. And independently, that big part of those facilities are well automated, require specialists and people maintaining and improving and innovating how we produce products. Also, we have one of the largest fleets in several countries where we deliver with our own trucks and our own drivers the products to the customers. And we are in the range of the products that are, let me say, close to the customers, thanks to the restaurants, bars, hotels, and catering. That means that if you know how many bars and restaurants you have in your cities, you can imagine how big is in some countries our own distribution network, and we need people to distribute. For that reason, 20,000, that looks a big number, is not the real number because some operations are externalized, but from the total employee population from Europe, we represent close to 50%, 55% of the total employees of all the functions: commercial, digital, IT, human resources, finance. We are the heart of the company.
Correct. It's a huge, huge function. That for sure. Okay, so we have warmed up a little bit with those questions, and we are moving to the round table where our representative will share a lot of interesting insights that will also help you to understand more the function. So I'm going to start with Belen. So Belen, could you mention some examples of how we are implementing emerging technologies in supply chain?
Yeah. Now that we are in a more, let me say, the data-driven world, we are using as much as possible new data analytics to gather information from all our processes. And then we have started this journey recently, and now we are able to predict in how some crops will evolve based on the data of those crops, and also in some relevant markets above Europe, in places where it's very difficult to analyze crops. Thanks to pictures that we are getting, we are able to understand how the crop is evolving and if any specific treatment the crop will require. But landing in the, let me say, more real world, a closed world, we have done an amazing, we have built an amazing warehouse, fully automated, and in Spain, that is by now the largest warehouse and the tallest warehouse for the FMCG companies in Europe. We try to optimize all our processes, finding the right balance between fully automation, fully data-driven, and also the manual intervention and the human innovation that we have.
Wow. Sounds amazing. And yeah, so we have it here in Burgos, that plant. Great, thank you, Belen. And I have now a question for Richard. So regarding like creativity and your role itself, so could you give some examples how you use creativity in your job to drive improvements, for instance?
Yeah, so Belen talked a little bit there in the previous answer about data, and I think if you're part of supply chain and you're part of driving improvements, then data's absolutely got to be at the heart of that. So if I were to give an example, perhaps some people on the call have heard of true efficiency or net efficiency or asset utilization. So all of those three terms are ways you can measure the efficiency of a production line. Within supply chain, within manufacturing, the improvement of those efficiency metrics is an important thing, but it's quite an abstract concept, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say true efficiency of 1% improvement, then it can switch you off a little bit, right? You think, well, I hear 1%, doesn't sound like very much, so what? So why is it important? So if I were to take a typical line, and I won't tell you which line it is, but a production line, 1% TE improvement, true efficiency improvement, could be about 250 tons of product in a year. 250 tons of product based on a fairly average bag size you can be talking 5 million extra packets of snacks. So when you think about, creativity, I think everything comes back to data. Everything comes back to what was a problem to solve in the first instance and improving efficiency. But where I think creativity can really play a big part is being creative in the way that we communicate with each other, and how to bring everything back to a common language that we can all understand. And we all understand that 5 million packets of snacks is a lot of snacks. We might not all understand what 1% TE gives us, but now we do, because we've put it in that kind of common language. And I use one example there, but I think it's really important when you're thinking about a large company, a large organization spread across multiple technologies and geographies, that you're able to sell the message of why what you think is a good idea is an important idea.
Thank you, Richard. And from creativity, I'm gonna go to innovation. So could you give an example of how you have helped to drive and deliver innovation in supply chain, either you or Belen?
I'll take it then. Yeah. So I've worked for a number of years in productivity, and I think we talked at the front end when we were going through the poll about reducing waste, and we've had several initiatives about reducing waste, and I think the best thing I think I've ever been involved in terms of that type of an idea was a project a couple of years ago that reduced juice waste by about a third in one of our large juice processing plants in Belgium, and it was a really simple idea, but came from looking at where's the loss, Pareto, where the losses are, where's the biggest area where we're losing the product. Okay, so what can we do about it? Bringing a cross-functional team together, and actually for a pretty simple change delivered us a massive improvement that saved the company money, which is great, but also stops us wasting the planet's resources. So, I think there's loads of examples in the area of waste reduction, and I don't want to kind of disappear down a technical rabbit hole of how we change different processes and programs and valves, etc. But what's the problem to solve? Going after the big things and doing it in a logical fashion tends to lead to good results.
Yeah. And let me build on what Richard said, because at the beginning we said that we have pretty big focus in sustainability. Waste and productivity are two amazing words that are mentioning every second in PepsiCo. Also, several years ago, we launched globally one of the biggest reductions in terms of total cost, that was optimizing the size of the bag of the snacks, taking into account the size of the box where the bags are transported, taking into account the cases that a container can have, and reducing 3 millimeters, that looks like is nothing, in the size of the bag. We reduce it total cost across all the different processes. Less film, less cartons, more product in a full truck, less petrol, less consumption of gasoline, less CO2 emissions, more bags per case. Amazing product, and was thanks to a very, very simple idea that one of the employees that was located in the manufacturing site close to the back, back packaging machine was saying, 1 millimeter multiplied for all the bags that we are producing is going to be amazing. Small things came from a big part of the employees that are close to the operations, and are really not, amazing ideas, but the simple ones are the ones that drives really innovation at the end.
Thank you so much. And well, I'm gonna go to Marco now, and we have like the future grads that would like to hear how, like your experience, Marco, has been so far, and what is the best part of being a PepsiCo graduate?
So, hi guys. I would define my experience as challenging, rewarding, and never the same. To be honest, the graduate program provided by PepsiCo is a one-in-life opportunity. And why is that? Basically, as graduates, we have a priority pass to access to a toolkit of experiences and skills that will allow you to drive your career. On top of that, you can be like surrounded all the time by brilliant people who are willing to share their passion and their commitment for the work that they do every single day. If I have to mention a game changer of this experience, I would say that this is related to the mentoring initiatives. Basically, we can talk every single day with senior leaders like Belen and Richard in this case, but way more that are willing to share their learnings, failures, and also their vision and techniques on how to address complex problems that our business is facing every single day. So I would really say that we are like both growing in terms of like technical skills, but also personal, which are equally important in my opinion.
Thank you so much, Marco. And well, continue with you. What has been, like different than you expected about working at PepsiCo?
So I was aware, after my studies, I was aware that probably the graduate program was the best option in my case. And why that? There is like a big potential, and this is related to the fact that we are exposed to different departments within the business, and this, of course, will dramatically increase the size and weight of the luggage of experiences that we carry with us. However, what I have been impressed is like the fast and smooth integration I have received to get into the daily operation. This was like the most impressive factor that I can tell you according to my experience. And at the beginning, even though I was a bit like concerned and scared that I wasn't able to live up all the expectation that my manager or director were expecting from me, I can tell you that all the support is provided. So you're always placed in the condition where all the tools and the guidelines that you need to perform at your best are truly and promptly provided. Then on top of that, I would stop to describe the offline learnings that PepsiCo is providing. So I'm talking, for example, about the Pep University that we have here internally. So a bunch of learnings and on-the-job experience where you can learn how to perform better, to improve your productivity. And I will also, I think it's worth to mention that, as I told you before, there is always like an open conversation with all the people surrounding you, coming from like different cross-functional teams that are willing to make you discover new departments. So this kind of, jump into horizontal or vertical position is truly possible. This is related to the attitude-based approach that I like the most from PepsiCo. Does not matter your background, does not matter who you are, where do you come from, but it's important if you want to have a real impact on the business and you can move within different sectors.
Thank you, Marco. Sounds incredible and very, very exciting. I'm coming to Belen, and Belen, what do you consider, that are the key future skills that a supply chain professional needs to succeed in his or her role?
I will rely in the ones that has been the drivers of success in PepsiCo, not only for supply chain, but is open mind, think out of the box always, act as an owner, feel that you own what you are doing, and also take others with you. As Marco said, we are an organization that when sometimes people describe me or ask me to describe in one word, I will say that we are entrepreneurs. We are not the pure process tool standardized perfect company at all. We rely in everybody that works, and for that reason we create pretty smooth connections between all the different levels, and people can talk openly, as Marco said, with directors, by presidents, managers, and others. Okay, it's difficult in the current environment that everything is changing pretty fast. Having everything well documented, everything up to the speed that is required, and we rely in feel that people feels owner and is acting with integrity and also embracing others to work with. Okay.
Thanks.
But I will say that it's not specific for supply chain. It's specific for PepsiCo.
Yeah, and what would you say also for Belen and Richard that are, like at PepsiCo for several years, that have been your biggest challenges with your internal and also external stakeholders?
I think this is a really tough question, actually. Because Marco and Belen just talked there about it's a pretty great place to work. So in terms of internal stakeholders, I think there are fewer challenges than you might expect. Perhaps one though comes back to a question that was on the poll at the start of the session. So talked about what's the role and responsibility of supply chain. We talk about cost savings or cash flow or making sure the product's in the right place, etc. And I think trying to maintain a sense of balance, I think that's probably the biggest challenge for us. There are so many initiatives, there are so many priorities. So agreeing internally within a large organization of 20,000 employees of what's the highest priority thing to work on, that's probably the biggest challenge. But it's quite a good challenge, right? Because it's exciting. There's so much going on, and people are generally approach those kind of discussions in a really positive and open way. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but of course keeping everybody on the same prioritization list is a challenge in a large organization.
And as Richard said, balancing all those different drivers and taking into account that our products, let me say, are really nice, good, but you don't need to survive. And we need to maintain this type of product in a way that you feel attracted, and being close to the consumer, that the consumer is changing and evolving pretty fast in the last centuries. We have been exposed to change dramatically the portfolio to be more healthy in the last years, more recyclable, and those, let me say, those consumer requirements sometimes are challenging to afford in a, let me say, a costly manner, no? And this is what also attracts me to stay in PepsiCo, is that independently that we plan every year, we create a strategic plan for the next coming 3 years. Every year is a surprise. Last year, the pandemic was a big surprise. We can say that we were a very lucky company because we are in the food and beverage sector, not closing in any country, and being able to deliver our products in an environment that no one never thought, no? And this ability to understand where we are, what is the value that we can bring to the customers, how we can change the trucks, the warehouses, the manufacturing site, I think that is really amazing, and at the same time is a challenge too.
And well, Belen, like going through those challenges, those excitements, and how, like does, like your career development look like in supply chain at PepsiCo? Is something that for sure they will be interested to understand, to any one of you.
We have 20,000 opportunities. No, I mean, the career development in PepsiCo is owned by each person, okay? And is relying in 3 factors: that you deliver your work, of course, you should be a nice worker and committed worker, how you position the value, and in this case, you can see different alternatives in the same functional area. I have been transitioning from a strategy to warehousing, later on to manufacturing footprint and network design. After that, in analytics, always in supply chain, but it's how you position yourself, and also thanks to the networking. Okay, you need to have enough contacts that at such moment people will take you into account. Okay, and this is one of the most powerful things in PepsiCo. Networking can build through different, let me say, type of relationships. Marco already mentioned one that is very powerful, that is the mentorship. We have mentorship not only for the graduates, we have mentorship for everybody. We have an application that allows people to identify which are the topics, professional, personal, from the behavior point of view, from whatever angle that they want to consult and check with, let me say, I will not say experts, but with people with more experience, and the tool provide those matches, and you can start with pretty powerful conversations. Okay, but the career success I think in PepsiCo is driven by every single person. You need to deliver your job, and you need to understand that you have a brand at the end. You are going to be categorized as a multi-expert or a specific driver or a people that is a motivator, and then you will grow. And something that also has changed dramatically is that now, thanks to the new wall, you should not be allocated in the country to deliver some, let me say, positions. And these open more alternatives, when before transfer movements were, let me say, maybe a barrier. Of course, if you need and you love to work in the factories are not in the space, unfortunately. But we are, let me say, very lucky to having factories and warehouses across all Europe.
I'd add to what Belén said, and I wouldn't disagree with anything that Belén said. I think the overarching piece of kind of advice maybe I'd give to anybody would be to maintain an open mind, right? And don't try and focus on what's the next job or the next job after that. The role title will change. Yeah, the companies change all the time. Structures change all the time. The change is an absolute constant. But by maintaining an open mind to the opportunities that may be there in the future, and building the capabilities that will stand you in good stead for the longer term in your career, that'll work out, right? So I think the risk is becoming too short term and thinking, oh, I need to be here by this point in my career, or I need to have made this move, or I need to be doing that job. The jobs will change, the structures will change, but by having the ability to progress into different areas and build the critical experiences that will help you for your career in the longer term, will work out. Everything will work out fine off the back of that kind of approach.
Thank you, Richard. And what would you say, that you like the most of, being at supply chain and at PepsiCo?
I think, yeah, I've done a number of jobs in different organizations, and absolutely the make or break is the people with whom you work, right? So the people you work with, and you have the privilege to work with in supply chain in PepsiCo, and I've been lucky. I've worked in the UK. Clearly, that I'm UK native, but I've also had jobs that are in sector positions and work with people from every part of Europe, really, from the UK across to Russia and everything in between. And the can-do attitude and willingness to get stuck in has been I wouldn't say universal, but pretty close, right? Most people have been really great to work with, and I think that's made the difference for me in terms of, you know, why do I still work for PepsiCo? Because it's good to work with the people I work with, and I think that would be the number one for me.
Super. So I have a few more questions, but also would like to remind all of you that you can start placing your questions at the Q&A box, and after the roundtable, we will look into those questions. Okay, so Marco, I'm looking to you now. So Marco, how would you describe PepsiCo culture? You know, like from your experience so far.
So that's a good question, honestly, because I've received like so many inputs that I'm still like trying to assimilate those to get my output. But what I can tell you is that I love this extremely dynamic environment. I love the way we embrace change, as my colleagues were saying. We really rely on our most important resource, which is like the PepsiCo community. So whatever is like your religious, sexual orientation, but also talking about your background, does not really matter. It represents to us as a value more than a constraint. So we want to leverage this diversity, which is like a fundamental milestone of our DNA. We are all the time creating a cross-functional team with different, like limitless nationalities, because we want to be able and to get better overcoming cultural barriers, right? So we want like to become more competitive, and to do that, we act with integrity, but at the same time, like we take position and we speak fearlessly. So to give you an example, I'm now working with the Center of Excellence of Warehousing. So basically, we are coordinating the warehouse. We are talking about like 400 sites in Europe. So as Richard was saying, from Portugal to Russia, and it's really common to have in the same call, I don't know, 10 or 15 nationalities. And it's amazing how we can learn the different perspective, and we understand together that in this way we can become more competitive, we can like drive productivity, and we can get better together.
Super, thank you, Marco. And I'd like, you know, like to finalize the roundtable and asking, you know, like the three of you, that if you could give a piece of advice to someone starting their supply chain career, what would it be?
I can start with this one. So taking the wire of my colleagues, I really recommend you, and I'm aware of what I'm saying because I've been like in your position, probably like looking for a place, and I recommend you to go with the graduate program provided by PepsiCo. So to succeed, be curious, feed always your mind, think out of the box, really take care of your originality. We are special in our way, and we need to preserve the special features that we have. Failure is an integrated part of the learning journey that we are traveling, right? So try to combine the passion that you have for whatever topic with a smart strategy to achieve results in the shortest time that you can. Try to keep you really motivated, and don't forget that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and we are now asked to take the stage.
Marco, I think that you need to jump to all the calls, not only supply chain.
Thank you, Belen, for the feedback. Really coming from my heart, because I understand you guys that sometimes, you know, it's really hard to find the right place, especially after the studies, but keep going, just like calibrate your strategy, feed yourself with whatever is your curiosity about, and you will succeed, I'm sure.
I will rephrase myself. As I said, think out of the box is something that is really important. Embrace others with you. I mean, we are a big and large company. There is not success for the people that are selfish here. It's a company where we take others in a very collaborative mode, and always ask questions. You will find someone that will help you to find the answers. Don't, let me say it, be afraid to ask questions to everybody. And when I said everybody, your manager, your colleagues, any vice president, any director. Now it's true that unfortunately we don't have the same opportunities to be together in the offices as was before, but this is going to change soon. But how our offices are set up is amazing. It's in a pretty collaborative world. All the different levels of the organizations are sit in the same, let me say, space. We don't have special offices for VPs and senior directors. It's an open space, only we have specific spaces for meetings and to work together. And this is what helps people to really be successful in PepsiCo.
Thank you, Belen. Richard?
I think I'll steal this from somebody who kind of passed this bit of advice on to me. So I think understand in terms of supply chain and a career in supply chain, understand the products that you make, understand the processes that you use to make them and distribute them. And then third, but a very clear first in these three is understand the people that you work with, right? How do you add to the sum total of the capability of PepsiCo? You know, what can you bring to the team to develop other people? How do we all keep improving? Because that is what the company is. The company is the sum of the people who work for the company, and it's what makes the organization great.
Super. Thank you so much to the three of you, and yeah, for sure I would apply to the opportunity. So we are moving now to the Q&A, and well, feel free and take the advantage that we have Marco, and he was participating in the last year challenge, so don't miss the opportunity to ask him any question regarding business case, the process, or how he felt during this period. So yeah, you have him here today to go through it.
Yeah, exactly, Maria. I think that you pointed out fairly. So guys, really, I'm here, and also the leaders are here. So don't be shy. Share all your thoughts. Speak out loud. We are here to help you, to place you like in the most comfortable position to succeed on this competition. So really, go ahead, don't be shy.
I see there's a question there about how plastics are collected by the organisation for recycling. I think I can't fully answer the question, because if truth be told, I don't know the specific answer for every different market across Europe, but there are a number of initiatives. So if I would give it, for example, from a geography that I work in, within the UK, we collect the plastic snacks wrappers through designated plastic points. You can post those back to the company. We also have return vending machines for plastic bottles in some markets. So there are a number of different initiatives to try and create that circular economy for plastics, but they vary dependent on the market and local conditions.
As Richard said, we are not experts in everything. I have included in the chat the link to our web page when there is a specific chapter regarding recycle and packaging, because this is one of our main objectives this year. And please play with the web page. We are a company that we shared all the things that we are doing, big projects and initiatives, because we have a clear mission and vision statement that already I have shared also in the Q&A too.
I think that there are like a bunch of questions for myself, and I'm really happy. So I will go one by one really quickly for time being. So what is my rotation like? Basically, it's like 2 years, 2 rotation. First year in warehouse KPIs management, and second year is customer collaboration, so interaction with retailers mainly. Then major priorities areas of your case research and idea creation. So as I told you before, my background was basically formulation and processes. So what I was thinking is to provide an idea to make, I cannot share so much, that's why I'm trying to, rephrase. So basically I was trying to give an idea or an alternative to make our supply chain more sustainable. And to do that, I addressed our main brand, which is Pepsi. And I thought that the main factor that have an impact on the green side of the supply chain are water and volume. Those are the tips I can give you. Then up to you how you will build your idea.
And there is another one regarding your business case. What was it about?
So my business case, I would tell you, like, in general, the guidelines that I follow that in my case make me succeed. So I would say that taking in consideration the trend that the food industry is facing, state clearly what is the problem that you're addressing, state clearly what is the solution that you are providing and what are the main benefits, and provide a general financial breakdown of how would you expect you spend the money that you receive.
Thank you.
And maybe there is a question from Gaetano, so my same nationality, Gaetano. So as I told you before, yeah, there is this possibility, according to my experience, following certain criteria to jump horizontally within the company. So basically, we have regular meetings with manager. HR is also supporting a lot to understand what are our main ambitions and wishes to drive our career. So following certain criteria, of course, you cannot like jump between opposite. It's also related to your background, but this flexibility is ensured, I would say.
Yeah, but to be clear, during the program, because the program is funded by the different functions during the 2 years, you will be part of the department assigned. After the graduates, it's up to you and up to all the possibilities that you have to jump to another function, okay? And we have every week is share all the open positions that we have across the world. You can do your own search, redefine it with specific words, specific locations, specific titles, and so on. And you can see how many opportunities we are, let me say, building around the world, okay? During the program, the assignment is to the function that has been assigned, if I'm not mistaken, Maria Jose.
Correct. And then also building on that one, that we have a question regarding the learning. We have developed a learning program for the 2 years that, well, the graduates and Marco can mention that every month we have different topics to work on it, and for the graduates to evolve and increase, like their strength.
Question about what's the characteristics of an ideal candidate. I think I've put myself front and center to answer that question, but would say, there is no such thing as a perfect ideal candidate, right? It's a broad church, if you like, with many members in PepsiCo. But the point about being data driven, using logic and fact to make decision, I think that's something that would stand anybody in good stead. Having an open mind and a willingness to learn would stand some people in good stead, and just having a positive approach and a can-do attitude, right? There's a million reasons why you don't do something, why it can't happen, why it doesn't work, blah 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 blah. Having an approach that's centered around positivity and a sense of drive and direction would stand anybody in good stead for sure.
Thank you, Richard. And perhaps this one for Marco, who is there as a Dare to More graduate. Is there a sense of community amongst the grads, or not so much since COVID?
Definitely it is, and I mean, it's like fair to say that, of course, COVID impacted our sense of belonging, because at the moment we cannot like travel so much, so we cannot meet up. But at the same time, we are trying to create this sense of belonging, this group, this community together via virtually. So having coffee together, sharing opinions, and also we're planning, for example, to combine our skills and backgrounds together to take part to the internal competition that we have within the same organization. So yes, there is.
Super, great. And well, I can see we don't have more questions.
Probably it's unfair for me to talk about the sense of community amongst the graduates, right? Because I'm not a graduate. I haven't been a graduate for quite some time. So Marco's answered that. But to build upon what Marco said, I think, you know, clearly COVID's had an enormous impact on the way of work. I won't talk about kind of the ramifications of wider society. This is not the place to do that. But to the world of work and to PepsiCo, it's had an enormous impact. And you know, there's lots of things you could point to and say, well, we don't do that anymore because of COVID, or you know, we can't get together, you can't travel across international borders the way that used to happen. There are fewer face-to-face meetings, but it's also created opportunities in a different way, right? I think people are far more willing to connect virtually than they were 2-3 years ago, and that creates opportunities for graduates and for the rest of the associates, employees in the organization to be connected more readily in a different way. Now, I remember the days of having a 2-day meeting in a different country, and you have to fly there and then fly back, and you don't get back to what you don't have to do those things now. It doesn't tie up your time in the same way. You can be more flexible, more dynamic, and work on more things at once, and have a broader network being built because of it. So, look, none of us want the current way of working to pervade, but I think, you know, that ability to connect with people virtually has definitely brought a different avenue than pre-pandemic.
Thanks. Thank you, Richard. And well, from my side, a huge thanks to the three of you, Marco, Belen, and Richard. And thank you everyone who has attended the webinar. If you have more questions, please feel free to connect with us via WhatsApp or via our 24/7 chat support on our site. So all the best, and looking forward to see all your applications, and well, have a lovely afternoon. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.